ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. And you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Calling all art and craft lovers. It's time for the Fall Fling. The Women's Civic Club is hosting a juried arts and crafts show and sale, and you won't want to miss it. Mark your calendars for Saturday, November the 9th from 9 to 3 at Frank Brown Park Recreation Center. Browse through amazing handcrafted items, find unique gifts, home decor, jewelry, and so much more. Suggested donation just $1. For the perfect way to kick off your holiday shopping season, don't miss the Fall Fling.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros, interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 in Port St. Joe along that beautiful coast. Jay, there's something falling from the sky that kind of happened a little bit last night, and maybe supposed to do a little bit of... What is that stuff out there?
Is that rain?
I've heard. I've heard rain's a good thing, but it's certainly been a while.
Yeah.
I'm used to having that big glowy object up in the sky and being usually a little warmer. But yeah, maybe some much-needed rain in our forecast here over the next few days. Obviously, there's Hurricane Raphael out there, but Raphael's making a significant turn to the west.
A Ninja Turtle hurricane?
I know. And
go back to your cell, brother.
Yeah, I feel like that counteracts it, right? If it's Hurricane, but it's a Ninja Turtle name, then it makes it not so intense.
And it never makes us to Texas in November, from what the Weather Channel was saying.
Yeah.
Like Texas has never been hit by a hurricane in the month of November. So
well, there you go.
Hey,
it's and it's probably not going to be a hurricane when it does make landfall.
Yeah.
So, but hey, it's still technically hurricane season. Me and David talked about that yesterday. But hey. Where do you find that free mobile app, Jay? Do you remember?
Let me think about it.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Google Play or Apple Store.
Bingo. What do you got to search up?
104.3.
Absolutely. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com if you want a free 3-day trial. I have a tough time saying that. A free 3-day trial. Whoever decided to come up with the number for trials, they're like, you know what? We're going to make it 3, so it's really hard to say free 3.
Right.
But yes, you can head over to ESPNPC.com. Scroll down just a little bit. Look for that TV channel icon. All you got to do is sign up for Lucid Streams TV. You'll get 3 free days, and then after that, with code ESPN-NW, it's only going to be about $40 a month. Literally everything you could want. And our good friend Travis has signed up, and he was saying you could watch movies that have already came out in the theaters on Lucid Streams.
No way.
He's seen Beetlejuice. He's seen all these other ones.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Deadpool may be one of them. I don't know. I don't keep up with all the...
Now, was he able to see that on demand, or they had to, I
think it was on demand. I think he could search. He searched it up and found it.
I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah.
That beats the $22 ticket at movie theater.
Yeah,
by a lot.
Yeah. You cut that 1 month in 2 tickets. You've already paid for it.
I can turn the heat on in my house too.
yeah. That's true. That is true. But yeah, sign up for Lucid Streams. Free 3-day trial going on right now. Jay, do you know what today is?
Today is Wednesday, November the 6th.
That is
2024.
That is correct.
My goodness, you come in and you're just like great ball of fire.
Do you know what happened 26 years ago today?
I was born.
That's about right.
I'm 33.
Okay.
It was on demand, Travis said.
1998. So that was
26 years ago today.
1998. Oh, boy.
You're not going to get it, so.
I have no idea.
Okay. 26 years ago today, Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime, and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl.
Oh, right.
26 years ago today.
Sir.
1998.
Man.
The Water Boy. The Water Boy. Saw that on a memory that I had. And
okay.
It was 5 years ago. It was 21 years ago, so now it's up to 26 years.
Yeah, Lucid, this is crazy, bro. This is absolutely crazy how much I've never even thought to look over here on this side because I always am just looking at the live TV portion of it.
So am I going to movies?
Yeah, you go over there to movies. I don't know because you're still on the old version.
Come on.
You're not on Lucid Streams.
David has a count up in the top right corner of these movies. 10,538. Y'all will never see me ever again.
There's also Stopping the Steal, the inside story of 2020. That is funny. And then there's Hayseed. I thought that was like Hazied, like my last name with the ED.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
You've been hazed.
David hazed. Oh, goodness. Jay, obviously you've been doing a lot of golf action, a lot of high school golf. You know, tell everybody about how it went down there at the, or not down there, over there. I guess kind of over there and down a little bit. Over there in the Lake City area, at Lake City, the Country Club of Lake City, if I'm not mistaken.
Country Club of Lake City, yeah. It's the one if you're going 75 south, right south of I-10. It's about 5 miles on the left. A little hilly.
Some undulation.
Course was in okay shape.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's listening from Country Club Lake City. So.
Yeah, it was in okay shape. It was. I know that the irrigation had been hit by the Hurricane Helene, I think, that came through. You could obviously see in everyone's backyard a lot of trees down. Course was, 1970 style.
Not the classic old Florida golf.
Yeah. A lot of dog legs.
Like the Meadows used to be a little bit.
Yeah. But I would, I would visualize maybe Signal Hill with a little more trees.
Okay. A little longer, hopefully.
A little long. Yeah, we played at about 68.50 from the tip.
Wow.
So
it's good distance.
Yeah, it was a good distance
for the young lads.
Yeah, but hey, look, I mean, we've got some good golfers in the area. There's some great golfers over in Jacksonville. I know Fleming Island. I'm not sure where they're from, but they ended up.
That's where Keith lives.
Yeah, right.
It's just him.
Yeah, just one M.
Just him. One M. One M. Not two other Fleming
That's
Island.
right.
There you go. Hey, David, there's 1,301 romance movies on here. That is right up Jay Henry's alley.
Yeah.
How about
there
that?
You go. That one's got. So that's got 35,000 movies?
This is just, I guess so. 35,410.
Wow.
Between thriller and horror, I didn't even know there was that many movies that were made.
Facts, but that's like where all of the indie movies go to.
They go to those categories, so there's a lot of ones you probably never heard of. 5,895 comedies.
House of the Dragon.
Ooh. I mean, if you guys had to come up with a good romance plot, what would it be? I mean, they're all elevator speech.
They're all the same.
Huh?
They're all the same.
Yeah.
Guy gets girl.
Yeah.
Girl leaves guy. They get back 20 years later after girl got with girl.
That's it. That's perfect.
That is great.
You need to clip that one out.
Elevator speech for you, Jay.
There you go.
But yeah, it usually has something to do with somebody trying to find somebody that they can't get, and they keep trying and trying and trying, and eventually something happens. And
But are you guys looking for like a kind of up in the mountains, snowy kind of romance?
What? Which one are you talking about?
I don't think they have that on Lucid Streams, Jay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing they don't actually have.
I see a Perfect Christmas right there, man. I bet that has a great plot.
Is that me in front of my TV watching NFL football?
Perfect. Perfect Christmas, right?
Although last year on Christmas, the Niners got whooped by the Ravens. So
Niners playing on Christmas again?
No. Which is fine. Is fine. I don't have to be anxious about losing a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so regionals, Lake City, Country Cup of Lake City. I mean, you guys hung in there pretty good.
We did.
Finished into what, top 8?
Top 8. That was 14 teams there. They were nervous, and it becomes a reality. From when you get out of the local level, obviously, you've got starters that are announcing the kids' names. Number 1 and number 10, Ryan, were right there beside each other.
Double T start, not
Double
a
T start. Yeah. So you had tons of people around. I could sense they were a little bit nervous, kind of, and so we had a very slow start. But our back nine was really good, and we beat South Walton by a stroke. I don't know if you saw the end of that. Mosley struggled a good bit over there, but as in life, as in golf, I mean, it's just one of them deals where you're either on it or you're not. So, but yeah, we had a great time. I'm tired. I feel like John Coffey from Green Mile. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
Yeah, you've been all over the Florida Panhandle. The I-10 corridor has probably been your friend lately.
Right.
Now, you stayed all the way through the girls, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And Zayna played well?
Zayna played great. It was such a this guy that I met yesterday was the owner of this golf course. It was Quail Heights Country Club there in Lake City as well.
Different golf course.
Different golf course.
Okay.
And so, it's family owned, just another Florida style, old style golf course. Zayna shot 35 on the front side. She was leading the tournament out of 72 girls yesterday afternoon. But she made the turn and made a few bogeys, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So that got her to 3 over. And she hung out around 7th or 8th place out of 72 girls, and then finished up with a score 76 yesterday and finished top 10.
Wow.
So congratulations to Zayna. I mean, she had a phenomenal front side yesterday and just a great, great golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, very, very good golfing family, that's for sure. But so she'll find out here soon if she's heading to the state finals down there at Howey at the Hills.
Yeah. And I didn't know if I could request an at-large bid to perhaps maybe, get either Ethan. Ethan had a great year individually. Yeah. But when you get to the state level, it's just kind of an automatic thing. I found that out this morning. So it's either she made it or he made it or they didn't.
Gotcha.
But I was going to request. Look, I was going to request. I mean, they've worked hard all season. And, hey, look, give a shout out to Ethan McGregor, Brady Lent. The season's over with. Where were those boys at 7 o'clock this morning before school?
On the driving range.
Waffle House.
That'd be good too. If you could do both, that'd be even better.
Waffle House.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is good. I almost sent you guys a text this morning to see if you guys wanted to go, but then I didn't. I don't know why.
I was
ready to go.
I know he was up early.
Who?
David.
Oh yeah. You were up early.
I mean, like not
9?
early compared to you, but about 7:53.
That's pretty early.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I went to sleep about, I woke up on the couch at about 3 o'clock after going to sleep around like 1:30 or so, and then went to the bed and, woke up about 7:50.
There you go.
It's got a whole series thing too.
Yeah. Lots of good shows on there as well.
This is
Lucid Streams. I would say that I think it's better on Lucid Streams, which is the one that we're offering right now, and you get your 3-day free trial.
Yeah.
Right? Tell them how to do that again, Ryan, because I forgot.
Yeah, sure you did. ESPNPC.com. Scroll down just a little bit or swipe up a little bit because that does make your screen go down. You find that TV channel icon. You sign up for Lucid Streams. They'll send you an email, tell you how to do it. You just got to make sure that TV channel icon is available on whatever TV or maybe, I know it's on Fire Stick and I know it's on Amazon TV, and I haven't looked on my one TV yet, but if it's on there, I might be making the move.
Yeah, I don't know why you haven't made the move yet.
I know.
Like YouTube, you can even. I mean, we're not going to disagree there, but no. But I think you can even do the split screen now. One of the having the 4 screens up, but the one thing that I've noticed is that it lags a little bit. It's not as crisp as what YouTube TV is, so there is that. But you could just compound the issue, get yourself 4 TVs because you can use Lucid Streams TV on up to 5 devices at one daggum time. You can watch 5 movies at a time. You could have 4 football games on and a movie on. You can make everyone in your household happy. Capiche?
Happy.
The adjective of lucid is easy to understand. Did not know that.
Wow.
Why do they say lucid dreams? Because I don't feel like lucid dreams are easy to understand. I feel like they're vivid.
Bright or luminous?
Yeah, that's what I thought more the
the literary term.
Yeah.
Bright or luminous.
Yeah, lucid. That
describes Jay perfectly.
Yeah, bright and luminous.
And easy to understand.
Sometimes.
I think so. If you're from the South, you know exactly what Jay's saying.
That's it. Roll something. Ooh. Jay, can I put you on the spot here in about a minute?
A minute?
Yeah, we haven't had one in a long time.
What is it?
How the rankings went last night, I'm sure, right?
No.
Oh.
That's our next segment. I try to open up the first segment just for some dialogue, and some fun stuff. But here, no, it's we haven't done it in so long. Y'all probably all forgot about it. I did want to mention though, on the local sports side of things, Arnold Marlins got a nice 4-1 victory over Gulf Breeze last night at Gavlax Stadium to start their state championship defense 1-0. So congratulations there. And looks like they're off to a good start because Gulf Breeze is a good soccer team. They're one of Arnold's kind of Niceville, Gulf Breeze, Arnold. They kind of have some nice rivalries because a lot of the kids play against each other too in the various club soccer teams across the Panhandle. So also want to give a shout out to the University Academy boys soccer team. University Academy had their first ever home game yesterday as the soccer field opened at the end of the last school year, and the UA boys soccer team hosted Breakfast Point, the defending county champions, and UA got their first win on home turf. They are undefeated at home. They won 3-0. I know Garrett's older brother, I forget his name. You know G-Money on our flag football team.
Yeah, absolutely.
His older brother, and I apologize for forgetting his first name. He scored 2 goals yesterday for UA, and then Joey Tannehill, who plays on the Dynasty flag football team. Big shout out to him. He had the 3rd goal yesterday as Arnold shut out the defending county champions, UA shut out the defending county champions Breakfast Point. And then also shout out to the UA girls basketball team. They got the win over there at Breakfast Point 33-11. I know Ryan made a free throw and had a couple assists, so it was exciting stuff. But fun to watch them play a nice, solid game, making a bunch of baskets and having a lot of fun. So,
was the Eagle mascot out there?
The Eagle mascot was not out there. Just it was like 87 degrees yesterday.
The person underneath the mascot head was there.
He was certainly there. We arranged, and thank you to the Krellings to allow him to hang out there while me and Beth were at Breakfast Point at the basketball game. But yeah, it's just that's a hot mascot suit to begin with, and then pair it with the sun and 85, 86 degrees. He would have been not being able to drink enough water to keep up with that. That's for sure. But yeah, a lot of local action going on. I know some of the other soccer teams have gotten underway for the boys. And of course, Jay, I bought you like 3 minutes at this point, so we haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
It's usually on Tuesdays.
We'll go with it.
Yeah, there it is. The light bulb went on.
It's Jay's Golf Tip of the Week.
I know you've been probably giving a lot of mental tips over the last couple weeks. But what you got for us today?
Yeah, so yesterday I had the opportunity, obviously, to kind of hang out at the range, watch a lot of high school girls yesterday, hit golf balls on the driving range. And, if you're looking for a good swing tempo, do yourself a favor. Go to an LPGA social media. Look at some videos that women swinging the golf club, and they swing at it so graciously.
So smooth. It's like watching a left-handed golfer.
Yeah, I mean it's
she
amazing.
Can't run a long way, but Charlie Hull.
Yeah, no.
Why can't she run a long way?
Her lungs get a little tired.
That doesn't do nothing.
No. That's
I
farce.
can run a long way.
That's true. Do you get tired? No.
It depends on what the if it's cold outside, a little bit more so. But if it's warm outside, then I'm just sweating.
That's right. That's right.
There you go. This is not meant to be political, but it is hilarious. And it says Georgia, Donald Trump 62.7, Florida State Seminoles 3. It's not political. It just came across my feed, and it made me chuckle. So
that's great.
I had to read that one off.
That's great.
Daniel Metzler shared that one. But yeah, so the tip of the week is go watch female golfers swing the golf club.
Yes.
Tempo.
Yeah.
Tempo.
You can just, and they generate so much power with such smooth tempo.
Yeah, rhythm and balance.
Man, everything balanced, man.
Yeah.
Rhythm and balance is everything.
If you can't run if you can't balance.
That's true.
You can't. No, you can't.
And you can't run if you don't got good tempo.
That's true.
Well, you can run, but you're going to be faster with a good tempo.
Yeah, you're gonna trip over yourself because your legs are going all sorts of crazy ways.
Yeah.
It's like a penguin out there watching. But yeah, good tip of the week.
Swing it like a girl.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. It's and heck, Florida State.
What?
Lottie Woad.
Oh,
top ranked amateur in the world. I think she's been doing it for like 16, 17 weeks.
And the boy, and
then
the
Luke
men.
Clanton. From the men's team. Team number 1. So Florida State, it's not all that bad.
They're not.
You guys are fine.
Yeah.
Golf, women's soccer, softball. Yeah, just the gift of indoor volleyball now.
Baseball.
Beach volleyball, baseball.
Who they got this week? Miami? Is that Miami?
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think Jim Bryant gave up on
I think FSU might have Notre Dame.
Yeah, they do. They have Notre Dame.
Are we that far in the season?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you've been gone for a little while. You've missed a couple games.
You've made like 2 shows in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah. It's good.
Well, I'm heading out of town for Thanksgiving before long, so.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we're gonna be heading up to the old North Alabama as well.
Are you? Okay.
So you want to feel guilty during that time period.
Yeah.
But hey, when we get back, you better be ready to go.
It's game on.
Game on.
I've heard you say that a few times this year.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Are you going to come back and be the Arnold golf coach next year? Or is it too early?
Man.
Undecided.
Put him on the spot.
Putting
That's
me
what a
on the
good
spot.
radio host does.
I have been asked that question a few times.
Ooh.
I know that my coaching certificate will expire at the end of this year, so I don't know if
Re-up.
Yeah.
Re-up.
You never know when you're going to need that anyway. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
How many hours do you got to put in to get a coaching certificate?
I think all you got to do is go online and all that good stuff. But yeah, we'll see. I mean,
if Jay got one, it can't be that.
Yeah, right. We're just losing one senior, and I mean, we're going to be really good next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just trying to.
It's 300. No, it's less than that. But that's a long way in the future. But it'll certainly be here.
It will.
Quicker than we know it.
Yeah.
And we got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, Jay, it's time to discuss the first college football playoff rankings of the 24-25 season. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
College basketball returns tonight. It's the number 11 Auburn Tigers hosting the University of Vermont Catamounts. Coverage coming up at 7. It's the Catamounts versus the Tigers on the Gulf Coast home for college basketball and the Auburn Tigers.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a gentle breeze out of the east, light showers and 80. Some clouds and light sprinkles tonight, about the same at 73. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy much of the day, but with a possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high of 82. About the same at 81 Friday, and we'll have mostly clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Mahalo Grounds is the newest coffee bar on PCB's East End. Conveniently located beside Cartona at the Hathaway Bridge, 7131 West Highway 98, Panama City Beach. Mahalo Grounds provides small batch, fresh roast coffee and espresso drinks. Their beans are from a small batch roaster out of Apalachicola, Bayside Coffee. Whether you are wanting a double espresso or a seasonal latte, they have you covered. Come experience the difference in coffee artistry at Mahalo Grounds.
It's football season, and that boot store reminds you to roll tide. Go Noles, roar Eagles, sick 'em dogs, and go Gators. Before the cold weather hits, shop that boot store for all your winter western wear and Carhartt work clothes to keep you warm on the job. That boot store, where God is good all the time. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. Next to Bill Burke Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, that boot store.
From the Auburn Sports Network, Alpha Insurance presents Auburn Sports Today. Here's Brad Law.
Your 11th-ranked Auburn men's basketball team tips off its regular season tonight against the Vermont Catamounts, a team that's won the America East Conference title 3 years in a row.
It's consistent with our philosophy. We want to play mid-major championship-type teams. This team was 13 seed in the NCAA tournament. We lost to a 12-seeded Yale team, and they're very much like Yale. I hate to tell you. They shoot it really well. I actually think they're better defensively than Yale. They average giving up 63 points a game. So this will not be a stat sheet stuffing game at all, which unfortunately Friday night was. And I can't even begin to tell my guys how different this opponent's going to be. They're going to run the shot clock down late, and then they're going to shot fake, and we're going to fall, and they're going to get the ball back. We're guard again. Time of possession in this game is going to be all in favor of Vermont.
And the Catamounts beat UAB Monday night, despite being significantly outsized and therefore significantly out-rebounded by the Blazers. So it's game 2 for them, the first of 2 games this week for Bruce Pearl's squad.
We're going to play Houston on Saturday, okay? We need a test. We need a closer game. We need a game where possessions are going to matter, because the Houston game is going to be a very low possession game because of how well they guard. Neither team is going to be able to score in that one. So great opener, lots to learn from.
And the lessons to be learned start at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll be live at Neville Arena with Andy Burcham and Coach Randall Dickey for pregame coverage starting at 6:30 Central. Until tomorrow, I'm Brad Law for Auburn Sports Today.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. He has over 10 items in the express lane. He pays with checks, and he doesn't return his shopping carts.
You have ruined groceries for me.
Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive. ESPN Northwest Florida. Not sorry.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Y'all can't see him, but we certainly can. And it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us lighthearted. And that is DJ Davy Crockett. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for select Orlando Magic games. Not all of them, but select Orlando Magic games. And stay tuned for some big contests coming up later on, as well as ESPN Northwest Florida. It's been a while since we gave away any tickets. We gave away a boat ton of Braves tickets, but stay tuned for maybe some Orlando Magic stuff. If you're a big basketball fan and want to check them out, make sure you listen to us all the time here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, before we get into these college football playoff rankings, we were talking a little bit off the air, and I'm trying to understand. We were talking about a lot of times in golf we put so much emphasis on getting off to a good start. I know momentum is a certain thing with that, but we specifically put so much pressure on the first tee shot.
Right.
In football, we don't put that much pressure on the kickoff. Basketball, we don't put a ton of pressure on the tip.
Off. Yeah.
In baseball, we don't put that much pressure, or we don't put pressure on the first pitch of the game. Why have we created this, I don't want to say farce, that the first tee shot is so important in golf, but why do we just struggle with getting away from the nervousness of the first tee shot? Because it's like if we hit a bad first tee shot, everything goes to pot, which really isn't the case, because you're playing 18 holes of golf, and they all, regardless of the individual score on each hole, they all add up the same thing.
Yeah, all those that you talked about obviously are team sports.
Of course,
but
and tennis, your first serve of the game is, there's no more pressure on that.
But you get a second. if you hit the net.
That's true. I guess that's why the breakfast ball makes people feel a little looser on that. I guess, I don't know, maybe it's momentum. Maybe you feel like you need to get off to a good start to play a good round of golf, but you can make a bogey on the first hole just like you can make a bogey on the last hole and still shoot even par.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had Phil Shoma on in a while, and I think Phil would be a great one to talk to about that, like you said. But I don't know. It's weird, man. I can't. I remember as a kid, just having that pressure, you know, of trying to just get it out of the way.
Is it an embarrassment thing? Like, do people feel like, because a lot of people be like, I don't want anybody around when I'm hitting my even like when you have somebody.
That's when I turn up, baby. That's when I pipe that thing 125 yards to the woods.
To the woods. To the window. To the woods.
Where I cannot find my ball.
And all those squirrels they call.
Oh, I just seen a bird fall.
That's right.
Oh, we can keep going with that, but we're not going to. But I mean, I don't know. Is it like people feel like, oh, you're supposed to hit a good tee shot on the first hole, so if I don't, it's embarrassing and people are going to judge me now. I don't know.
Could be.
You could par the first hole and then have 17 bogeys, double bogeys, triple bogeys in my case from there on out.
I always say if you birdie the first hole, it's a bad omen. Because now you've set that precedence that, I birdied the first hole. No, you shouldn't. Every hole is individual. Every shot is individual. But
I like that. Every hole is individual. Put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Right. But the double bogey monster comes out and bites you in the rear end every time you birdie it. And I don't know, we can't figure this out.
I don't know.
Well, it's like Zayna's front side yesterday, right? I mean, she shot 35, but then, you just know that you can't, it's...
Well, it's that, what did they always call it when you have a one good 9 and one bad 9? A Ray?
Yeah.
A Raymond Floyd and a Ray Charles.
There you go. There you go.
I've heard that probably 1,000 times.
I never have heard that one. I don't think I have.
Man, the club I was at in South Carolina, I probably heard that at least twice a day.
Okay. All right.
I was like, how'd you play, Mr. Smith? Another Ray. Shot 42 on the front, but shot 37 on the back.
Right.
I don't know. You never heard Ray?
No.
Yeah. Ray Floyd, Ray Charles. Ray Charles was obviously blind.
Yeah.
So the Ray Charles 9 would be your worst of the two because, he couldn't see.
Dude, if he could play the piano, man, I bet he could probably play some hellacious golf.
I mean, maybe so.
Doesn't hellacious mean negative?
No, I'm talking in a positive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, "Oh, that's nasty."
I got you.
In a good way.
I got you.
But I mean, my grandpa's blind and plays the piano beautifully. He is wonderful at that instrument. But I don't know about him playing golf. Now, back in the day, he would drive a little bit, not long ways or whatever. He'd have someone in the car with him. But yeah, so but I don't think he'd be that great at golf.
But he's
also in his upper 80s now, so
Yeah.
We'd have to go back in time to check that out.
Right.
Yeah. And there are people, I've seen it all the time, people, playing golf that are blind and, you develop those extra senses. And I guess as long as your mechanics are pretty good and they get you set up in the right spot, you're pulling the trigger and can make some stuff happen.
I think you just have to play, you might
have had to play golf before you lost your sight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because my dad, he'll come with us sometimes and he'll hit a few shots and it's like, wow, that's pretty daggum impressive.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I was just curious on your thoughts on that whole first tee start. It would just get so nervous and we got to hit a good tee shot on the first hole. I guess, you can compare that to some, if you score a touchdown on the first drive, that's obviously going to help you out a lot because now you've got that lead. But anyway.
I think it takes 15 bad shots in a row for me to even start getting upset about, and it's really when I'm not, if I hit the ball in the air, it's like, boom, that's a win. If I hit, and it's like, I know what I'm doing wrong, that's when I start getting agitated. But it's like, I try not to vocalize that because I don't want my playing partner, even if there's someone who has a temper or whatever about it, which I just, that ruins the game for me, man. It's just, hey, listen, we are not Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson,
Rory.
Yeah, so let's just go out here and have fun.
Yeah.
Well,
manage
let's
your
try to
expectations.
leave this golf course with golf balls in our bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Attainable goals. You got to set obtainable goals.
Now, look, I wasn't a good test taker back in like middle school, high school.
Was your entire graduating class?
No, we were terrible.
Y'all definitely didn't cheat off each other, or did you?
Or did you? I like that.
But it's almost like going back to that number one tee box fear or whatever. Do you remember when the teacher would be at the front of every row and she's got the test in her hand?
Yeah.
And you've prepared for it, or you feel like you have, and then you look at the first question on the test, and it's like, oh no, like I don't know that answer.
Yeah, so you feel like if I don't know that one, now I'm gonna,
right.
Yeah.
So now, and I think that would be maybe a good analogy.
I think that's a good comparison to a similar type of anxiety.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. I think it was Kobe Bryant that said he never got nervous because he knew he prepared as much as he possibly could.
Mike, I think that's Mike. Actually.
Oh, Mike, there you go.
And so Kobe probably did reiterate that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But just they prepared so much that they knew they couldn't prepare anymore. So when it came time to play and perform, they weren't nervous because they knew they've done everything leading up to it. And that's pretty much everything in life.
Yeah, that's right.
But yesterday obviously was a huge day for our country. The college football playoff rankings were announced, the first one of the season. And Jay will go through the order real quick, and then we'll go through what the projected bracket would look like if the playoffs did start this week, and get your thoughts on who you think will win and lose those hypothetical matchups.
Can I just say that I love how they did it yesterday, where they, and that's how it will be, as we continue to go through this. But they're not just giving the top 12. They give the second team out, first team out.
Yep.
But they also, we'll go through the rankings, but I really love how they did it, how it's going to look. I thought that the presentation yesterday was absolutely wonderful, and I'm excited about this 12-team college football playoff, with or without Alabama being involved in it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think everybody's now, with this first one that's been released, realizing what a 12-team playoff actually means and how it's going to play out. And I think it's pretty exciting. But real quick, I'll go through the rankings fast, and then we'll dive into that bracket. Oregon.
Oh, come on, you got to test Jay on this, right?
Oh, who's number one, Jay?
Number one, Texas.
Texas. They're 5. There we go. We got some sound.
Oregon.
Again. Yeah!
Oregon's the one.
This is why I wanted him to guess, because
you want to use the sound.
Yeah.
All right, number
I'm
2.
feeling like Liam today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Georgia. No.
Close.
Close.
Should have been. But they gave some bulletin boards material to Kirby. They do not believe in us.
Yes.
We couldn't even see our name on the list up there.
Miami.
No, but you've named all of ones in the top 5.
Oh, how about that?
No, actually, you haven't. You haven't named number 2.
Yeah,
but you've got the other 2.
This team lost to the number 1 team. Their lone loss on the season. They just got done beating up on some Lions, some Nittany Lions.
Oh, Ohio State.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so
number
Oregon,
3. Yeah, Oregon, Ohio State. Number 3,
Georgia.
Yes. Number 4.
You said them already.
Miami.
Yep.
Okay.
Number 5, Texas.
Okay.
You said it, and I gave you the answer. Number 6.
Yeah, we're getting.
Well, technically, number. Oh yeah. No. That's right. That's right.
We're just going straight through the rankings.
Yeah.
Number 6, they lost last week. David
Tennessee.
Oh, I thought they just put it up on this. Oh, come on,
my guy.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Kryptonites unite.
That explains a lot. Open book test.
I'm cheating.
Open book test. You're not cheating very
For
well,
the radio, like the ticker is rolling across the bottom right now on the Pat McAfee show, and Jay's like tricking us over here.
Yeah. You did. Were you pretending that you because you mixed up the order a little bit? But yeah, number 6. Number 6.
I don't know.
You've talked about this team already, or David mentioned them. They lost this past weekend, but it didn't affect them too much.
Oh, Penn State.
Yes, Penn State, number 6. Number 7.
Tennessee. Is that right?
Yep. Number 8.
Yeah, I'm out after this. I have no idea.
All right.
Yeah.
Trying to give a hint without giving it away too easily. I don't think you know who Max's favorite college football team is.
This is a Midwest team.
Northwestern.
They're awful.
They are surprisingly undefeated to this point.
Surprisingly,
Wisconsin.
They're undefeated means that they haven't lost, not that they just lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're undefeated. They're a Midwestern team.
The Fighting Illini.
No, they also just lost this last weekend.
You're getting closer, though.
There's a saying that goes, "Who's your daddy?" And if you just kind of put Hoosier together.
Indiana. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, he pretty much said Hoosier. Yeah, he didn't get that one. We were in trouble. Number 9, one of the teams I am certainly. I don't know. I'm on the wagon. I'm on the Provo wagon there.
Utah.
No, Utah's in Salt Lake City. But good guess.
Provo, Utah. Isn't it Provo, Utah?
No, absolutely.
It is.
You're not far
And this
off.
team is playing Utah this weekend coming up.
UNLV.
UNLV is in Nevada.
Nevada. I can't say it like that. Nevada.
What state am I looking at?
You're looking at Utah.
Yeah.
Utah
Zach
State.
Wilson came from
Utah
from this
State
university.
is not threatening the college football.
He
playoff.
liked Cougars and their mascot.
Oh, BYU. Thank you.
You just have to give you the most obvious hint possible.
Hey,
and then
we're good at charades.
Yeah,
we are.
Yes. But yeah, number 9, BYU. Number 10, this team does not play in a conference.
Notre Dame.
There you go. Number 11.
It's got to be some off the wall Liberty.
No,
or
they're
something.
on the wall all the time.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. They have a new coach this year.
Okay.
It's probably one of the biggest coaching changes in quite a long time, quite some time.
Quite some time indeed.
They don't have logos on their helmets. They just have numbers.
No logos. I was thinking Notre Dame, but
You just said Notre Dame.
I know.
They just have numbers on their helmets.
This fictional character ran very fast and caught the attention of the said football coach at the time with the houndstooth hat and ended up getting a scholarship to go to
Alabama.
There you go.
Yeah, thank
there you go. The Forrest Gump reference did it for you,
Yep,
huh?
it did.
Hey, we found it. 11 is Alabama. Number 12, Boise State. 13, SMU. Texas A&M at 14. LSU 15. Ole Miss 16. Iowa State 17. Pittsburgh 18. Kansas State 19. Colorado 20. Washington State 21. Louisville 22. Clemson 23. Missouri 24. And a service academy school by the name of Army dropping in that number 25 spot. But yeah.
How about that?
How about that indeed?
Yeah.
How about that indeed? And we got a huge game coming up this weekend, 6:30 Central Time. One of those teams probably playing for their college football playoff viability, and that's Alabama at LSU coming up Saturday, 6:30 p.m. in Baton Rouge, under the lights in Death Valley. Winner of that game obviously gets themselves a little easier path to make it to the college football playoff. Loser of that game arguably might be eliminated from it. But when we get back, Jay, we're going to dive into what the bracket would look like if the college football playoff started right now. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
I did want to do a shout out. I mentioned that we had gotten a Tom Brady autograph patch card in, and somebody heard us on the radio, and it's by. So ESPN Radio, they were listening to it, and they came to the shop and bought it.
Let's go, dude.
Here comes Randy for the commission.
Yeah.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Lucid Stream TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch 10,000 movies on demand, including recent theater releases. Just $41.99 a month when you use the ESPN-NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Lucid Stream TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Lucid Stream TV logo.
Emerald Coast Jiu-Jitsu is the premier jiu-jitsu academy in Bay County. Emerald Coast Jiu-Jitsu is a 6,000 square foot facility with 2 separate mat spaces, a pro shop, and a coffee bar. Jiu-Jitsu programs start at 3 years old through adult. They also provide Muay Thai, wrestling, MMA, yoga, breakdancing, street combatives, and prenatal yoga. Emerald Coast Jiu-Jitsu has been named Best of Bay for the past 2 years, has hundreds of 5-star reviews online, and 50 years combined jiu-jitsu experience. Emerald Coast Jiu-Jitsu, providing you with the best martial arts and lifestyle experience possible.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We've had Halloween. We've even had some Christmas carols on November 1st bringing us in. And here we are, DJ Davy Crockett.
Y'all had Christmas carols on November 1st?
What day did you do that?
I didn't do that. I wasn't here November 1st.
Oh, man.
It was Smitty. And if Smitty's going to overstep my boundary.
No. It was you. It might have been
I wasn't here November 1st.
I know, but it might have been Monday. Why
were we doing Christmas carols?
Because it was the month. It was the season.
No, I don't do that.
Have y'all heard Christmas music yet?
Yeah.
Have you? I haven't heard one.
It's beginning to sound a lot like Christmas.
There's I expect Christmas this Friday.
Okay.
From you on the guitar.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed. So we're just going to do a whole 2 months of Christmas music?
Just on Fridays.
Okay.
Just on Fridays.
Okay.
So that narrows it down to about 6 times, maybe give or take a few more. I don't know how it all play out. But yes, you're listening to the Inside Drive. Jay's back in studio. If you couldn't tell, we're having a lot of fun on this beautiful Wednesday. But yes, the playoff bracket would look like this. We just went over the top 25. Oregon, number 1, obviously in that number 1 spot. They would be hosting, or they would get a bye in the first round, and then they'd be looking to, where'd it go? I want to say exactly which. That would be, they would be playing in the Rose Bowl, taking on the winner of Indiana and Tennessee. Jay, who wins that game if it was played this Saturday?
I would say Tennessee.
Okay. Why is that?
Yeah, I just like Tennessee.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. I would probably take Indiana in that game because I think Indiana, they match up great against each other. But, this is where, with this 12-team college football playoff, you can see some of these matchups that we would probably never have. And I kind of like Indiana in that one. I think they've got a little more momentum. Obviously, they probably haven't played as tough a schedule. I know they haven't played as tough a schedule as Tennessee. But with the opportunity in front of them to head to the Rose Bowl to take on number 1 Oregon. Tennessee 8, Indiana 9. That would be played in Knoxville. And I'm excited for the home school playoff game. I think that's just going to be a really unique thing. I mean, we're used to the playoffs, but it's only 4 teams. So it's been in the big bowl games, but now we're going to have 4 games at a campus, a home team.
Will be cool.
And it's a playoff game.
Yeah,
that's a new aspect, and I'm really a big fan of that because I think it's it's not only a huge thing for the university to make a bunch more money, but really cool for the students and obviously the players to play at your stadium at home in a college football playoff game. All right, number 2. You remember who it is, Jay?
Number two. Let's see, went Oregon and...
Well, it's actually Ohio State, but Georgia falls into the number 2 spot because...
Why?
They would be the projected SEC champion.
Oh, gotcha.
So they get the next highest spot, and they get the bye.
Okay.
So Georgia would have that number 2 spot. They would be taking on the winner of Penn State and Notre Dame. They would play in the Sugar Bowl. Again, this would be at Penn State. Who would you like in that one, Notre Dame or Penn State?
Notre Dame or Penn State. I would think Notre Dame would have the edge over them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why come? See, I'm not letting you just give me an answer. I need what's in your head while you're thinking that. The helmets?
Yeah, well, Nittany Lions, I mean, they haven't played very good football in the last few years, have they?
I mean, they've been up there. They just can't win the big ones.
Yeah.
Franklin is, I think, 0-7 now with that loss to Ohio State against Ohio State or Michigan.
Fair.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they were ranked number 3 in the country prior to losing to Ohio State. So.
Okay.
But, I mean, and now they're still in the, they're still number 7, so.
Yeah.
But
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, number 3 is Miami in the bracket because Miami would be the projected ACC champion. They'd be looking to take on the winner of right now, Texas and Alabama. Little rematch, and that would be in Austin. Who would win that game if it was played this Saturday, Jay?
Boy, howdy.
I don't think Mike McDaniel would win it.
Right. Boy, howdy. Let's go Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go Alabama.
I like it. Alabama, so Alabama then would be playing...
my bad.
Would be playing Miami in the Peach Bowl. And Miami, again, would have that number 3 seed because of the way that they would be the ACC champion.
The way that the cookie crumbles.
Crumble it up. I think there's a story.
You like soft cookies or crispy cookies?
I like a cookie.
Cookie grease.
Cookie. I remember that. I like a cookie that's firm, but then when you bite into it, it's soft.
Now you're talking my language right there.
You know, 'cause
starts out firm and then get into the soft, the gushy, melted chocolate.
And that's a testament to the chef that's made that cookie. It's an art. You can't cook it too long. You can't cook it too less. The key to, Jay, is making sure you take the cookies out. It's like a good steak. When you take it off the grill or out of the skillet, you got to let it sit. Yeah. You got to do the same thing with cookies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them some space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to just go right after them.
Oh, yeah. Don't chase.
No. Let the cookies come to you.
The Great American Cookie Company. Do you remember that one in the mall?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big old cookie.
Yeah.
Man.
I still think that it exists because, the cookie cakes people get for their birthdays.
Yeah.
I think that's the same place.
It's true.
Great American Cookie Company. You're welcome. GAC.
We almost said it.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
Football great? No. It was something with an F, though.
It was like MFGA.
GA. Yeah, because it was something make frisbee. No.
What was it?
Couldn't have been make fondue great again.
No, we haven't had a topic. We haven't had fondue yet on the show. Hey, but we will. If somebody wants to bring us some.
Yeah.
But yeah, I almost said we almost both said tried to pronounce the MFGA, and I was like, oh, probably not a good idea.
We stayed away from that, but it worked out okay. But yes, Miami, the number 3 seed, because they would be the projected ACC champion. Again, Peach Bowl taking on the winner of Texas and Alabama, and then the number 4 seed, Jay. Although they are currently the number 9 ranked team in the college football playoff, would be this team because they're the projected Big 12 champion right now. Obviously, this will all play out, but which team is that?
I don't know.
Come on. We talked about it at length trying to get you to guess it, and then you found
Ohio State?
No. At length, and you got confused with the state.
Oh, what was it?
Well,
BYU.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because I want to BYU. I mean, be by you.
But yes, BYU, the number 4 seed, because they would be the last Power 4 conference champion. So they would get that first round bye, and they would take on the winner of Ohio State and Boise State. That's the 5-12 matchup. Boise State would get that final spot as the best group of 5 team, and they'd be looking to play BYU in the Fiesta Bowl.
Interesting.
But that's how your playoff bracket would shake out for this week 1, for the first college football playoff rankings anyway.
What if they did a scenario where, you know how each week they do the coaches poll, the rankings and all that? What if from week 0 they decided to keep all of that from everybody, and then you reveal all of this at the end of the season?
Yeah. I think he's mentioned that at one point. Somebody has.
Wait, what did you say?
That basically you don't have any rankings, and then when the college football playoff rankings come out, it's just a big old, surprise.
It's a Christmas present.
I don't know. I kind of like the preseason rankings and all that. I don't take them into like a heavy account, but I think that's what drives. When you're going into the season, you don't know anything about any team. Then what gives you credence to watch certain games over other games?
Well, I'm cool with the preseason or what you're talking about.
So you just do preseason
one ranking and it doesn't change.
Yeah. You just kind of keep up with everyone's record, but
you kind of have to. That's the whole reason we play a game is to win or lose.
Yeah.
So you could be so Florida State would still be top 10 until yesterday.
Poking holes in your theory here.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah. 1-8, and we're top 10. But I know what you're saying, though. Kind of like let it play out and then have your first rankings at some point, like right now, later in the season.
Yeah.
But like he was saying, it creates parity. It creates drama by having, like, Ohio State, Penn State last week was number 3 versus number 4. So you wouldn't have that without the rankings, but I get what you're saying. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I wonder if that would create more kind of like if you're not seeing any numbers, if there's no such thing as number 1, number 2, number 3, the list goes on and on to 25.
Yeah.
I wonder if that creates more because it's just like, all right, well, Ohio State, Penn State, that's kind of a rivalry game. You know what I mean? But then those less than marquee matchups sometimes get a nice boost because of the numbers by their names.
Well, and so many coaches, I don't think, want to be number 1 because you got the target on your back. I mean, you want
to be number 1 at the end.
Yeah.
But if you float kind of in that top 5 and then, because, and it's changed now that there's a 12-team playoff. Where there's 4 teams. A lot of times if you were in that number 1 spot, depending on who you lost to, it could pop you out and you didn't have a chance to get back in. Now, even if you're number 1 and you drop one, you're obviously still going to be. But that first round bye will certainly be crucial. It's one less game you got to play, one less game you got to win to keep going to try to win a national championship. Yeah. Jay, the first 5 out, SMU, Texas A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, and Iowa State. Those are the first 5 out of the 12-team playoff. Which one of those teams, or maybe a couple of those teams, do you think might be in the 12-team playoff by the end of the regular season?
Who's LSU playing this weekend?
Alabama.
You already picked the Tide.
I did. Name the other 3 or 4.
SMU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, who hosts Georgia, and Iowa State.
I like Texas A&M. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Their secondary's good. Linebackers are great.
Well, they only lost 44-20 last week to South Carolina.
Yeah, well,
they're great though.
They're bringing it back in.
Okay, that was the one to kind of it was a reality check for them.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss beats Georgia this Saturday, this is going to be a fun. I mean, it's already fun as it is. But if Ole Miss beats Georgia, and regardless, LSU, Bama, whoever wins that game, they're going to be more so in the driver's seat of controlling their own destiny. And Bama's pretty much at that point going to be on the outside looking in, absolutely on the outside looking in. Without in my opinion, a legitimate way in, unless you're looking at pretty much everyone in the SEC having 2 or more losses.
Yeah. Yep. It's chaos will certainly end. I think SMU, if I'm not mistaken, is on a bye this week. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, they play Boston College, then they go on the road at Virginia, finish the season against Cal at home. So SMU looks like they've got a pretty easy way through. Again, anybody could beat anybody, but the Mustangs bye this week, and then 3 more games that should all be winnable with those first teams out. Texas A&M, is that on this list? No, that's okay. Next year they'll have to put them on this list. Let's see who Texas A&M's got, Jay, real quick to finish out the season.
And then they got Auburn, they've got a small school, and then they've got Texas.
Yep. Yeah, they're off this week. New Mexico State next week at home, Auburn on the road, and then Texas at home. Obviously, that Texas matchup could be huge. But Texas A&M, if they went out, if they beat Texas, they could end up being the SEC champion, which would put them all the way up into the top 4 as far as the playoff rankings are concerned.
If they beat Texas,
then they end up winning and they end up going to the SEC championship and win the SEC championship. Then they would get that whatever where they would fall in the top 4.
Gotcha.
So they have that opportunity as well because the top of the SEC is definitely very, very close. Who else do we have? LSU, we know they're playing Alabama this week.
Do you have the SEC standings handy by chance?
Oh, I do. It's the magic of the...
Because the East-West doesn't exist anymore.
Nope,
so.
It does not. I mean, geographically, the East and West still does, but in the SEC, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, they're still in North and the South, too.
Yep. Yeah. And a Northwest and you can go all the way around the compass rose. Georgia,
Northwest.
Georgia and Texas A&M are both tied. At West some point here, too.
Oh, Jay, it's great to have you back in here with us, man.
Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back, that's for sure. Yeah, Georgia and Texas A&M both tied at 5-1. Tennessee at 4-1. Texas, LSU 3-1. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Alabama, all 3-2, and then you got the Gamecocks, the Razorbacks, and the Missouri Tigers. Missouri Tigers are 2-2, but the Gamecocks and Razorbacks are 3-3. So it's there's no undefeated SEC team left right now in the league. Which again, and you've got Texas A&M's got to play Texas still. Georgia's playing Ole Miss, and as we've mentioned multiple times, Alabama and LSU square off this weekend. Really, neither one of those teams can afford another loss with an opportunity to get into the playoffs. So it's a big weekend if you just, like David said yesterday, if you just leave it on ABC and hopefully right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, you can just listen to all three of those big matchups.
We're just going to have Bama and LSU on ESPN Northwest Florida. So tune in at 6:30.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more fun on the radio.
Yeah.
Wish you could pair it up with the TV broadcast.
Just can't. It's like 3 seconds, isn't it?
It's too much time.
Yeah.
Even if it's a half a second, that's too much time.
It is.
I think, one of the cool ways for me is if I'm watching and the view is ahead of listening, then I get to watch and see how they're calling the game. You know what I mean? But I think I use that for when I'm doing play-by-play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
It's like a study tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I'm watching TV and the lips don't match, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's a lot to handle.
It is. It's way too much.
Yeah, it's like
way
watching the Japanese.
You don't watch Godzilla?
Yeah.
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
You should. I bet you can do it on Lucid Streams. Hey, we got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, it's Wednesday. All your DFS fantasy action will be covered by our good friend Keith Fleming. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
If I had a vote for MVP to this point, I would give it to Jaden Daniels. He has given them a belief they didn't previously have. He's had Heisman moments. He has completely changed the entire trajectory of an organization through this play and the force of his leadership and personality. My midseason MVP is Jaden Daniels.
Greeny. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a gentle breeze out of the east, light showers and 80. Some clouds and light sprinkles tonight, about the same at 73. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy much of the day, but with a possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high of 82. About the same at 81 Friday, and we'll have mostly clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. They take pride in caring for their customers' property by providing lawn and whole house pest control. Whether you have roaches or any other unwanted bugs in your home, Turf Pro has you covered. Or if your lawn needs weed control, fertilize, insect control, Turf Pro has you covered by providing custom treatments to meet your property's needs. No property is the same, so why should it be treated that way? Turf Pro, where the blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Call 850-890-5820. Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Auburn basketball returns November 6th.
Cardwell to the basket with authority. Unbelievable.
Bruce Pearl and the reigning SEC tournament champions are ready to take on the most challenging schedule in school history.
Right wing three, Denver. Yes! Big three. Tonight. Turn, shoot, good.
Catch all the action on your home for Auburn basketball.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Living, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. You're right, Jay?
Yeah, yeah.
It was a little spicy for you?
Dynamite.
Dynamite. A little, I think that's a Dorito thing.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah, you're listening to the Inside Drive. It's Wednesday. It's 12 o'clock. We got Keith Clement coming up here in just a second. But I've got to go through my normal stuff before we get to all your DFS and NFL action as it continues to get a little crazier and crazier as we're more than halfway through the 2024-25 season, which is a little bit depressing, but hey, a lot of opportunity to win some stuff as we progress through the rest of the season. But you are listening to the Inside Drive, ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the Forgotten Coast. Watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, live every day. The Coach James Hale Show with us on the Inside Drive, and of course the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. It streams on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. And of course, Jay, where do you download the free mobile app?
On the Google Play or Apple Store.
That's it. All you got to do is search up 104.3. And as we talked about at the beginning of the show, Lucid Streams is where it's at. And in order to find it, you go to ESPNPC.com. You scroll down so you see that TV channel icon. You sign up. You get the email instructions on what you need to do. But man, there's over 2,000 channels, over what? 35,000 on-demand movies?
Yeah.
On-demand shows, series, all sorts of stuff. Every sporting event you could possibly want to watch. Those pay-per-view events come out beforehand, or they're right there on Lucid Streams as well. Wrestling, MMA, UFC, boxing, whatever you want to watch. Romance comedies. That's Jay's fave. They are all up on there. Yeah. And how many can you watch?
You know you love them if you call them romance comedies instead of rom-coms.
Yeah, he's not. He's right. Yeah. He's in for the full thing. It's not just rom-coms.
No,
yeah. You live for the rom-com though, don't you?
We didn't get an afternoon delight. Things just aren't right in the world.
You haven't got one in several days, really. So let's not get carried away.
How about you mind your business?
Yeah, you come in here all big and high and mighty in your horse, and you're criticizing DJ Davy Crockett.
I'm just messing with you.
We know. We hope you weren't serious.
No, I'm not.
It's just like last week. Everybody thought you were serious, talking about you thought it was okay for the players, the spectators in the Yankees crowd. You thought that was perfectly fine. You even said that was their territory, but lo and behold, you were just...
They paid for the seat.
You were just... yeah, you weren't here for that one, David. That was good. But then I was like, Jay, are you serious? He's like, nah, I'm just playing. I liked it, though. I liked it. You kind of stood on it. And, of course, we got to thank our studio sponsor. That's Bill Kramer, GM, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor right there at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. Lots of vehicles in stock. Trucks, electric Hummers, vans, SUVs, cars, whatever it may be. New and used inventory is looking good on the lot. They've got express service, regular service, tires at cost. And then, hey, it's fall, and it's a little breezy, but once things calm down a little bit here in the Gulf, it's going to be that time. Bay fishing will be aplenty. And if you don't have a bay boat, flats boat, Kramer Marine and Outdoor can get you going. And if you do have one, it's not working, they'll come right to you with their mobile service. They sell the family of Seabourn, Sundance, Spider, and Skeeter. Check out all that new and used inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. David's been filling in with the Skeeter for you.
He probably does it better.
No, he does more of like a foghorn type Skeeter. He's like, Skeeter.
I like it.
But hey, it's time. I don't know how you're doing in your fantasy leagues. I don't know how you're doing in the Pick'em. I was going to look at that a little bit later on in the show. But man, DFS action, it's heating up. The best balls, I was going to ask Keith when those best balls start moving on, because I really don't understand how it goes yet. But Keith, how you doing on this beautiful Wednesday?
Oh, not too bad. How about yourself?
We're doing good. Let me ask you about that best ball thing first. When does that, move on? How does that work? I'm still confused. I don't know why I can't figure it out.
Most of them start week 13 or 14.
Okay.
If it's a bigger tournament, which there's different, kinds. There are ones that are almost like a sit and go in poker, where it's just you versus, the people that are in your entry. So that's usually just 12. And that will go all the way to the end of the year. But if it's a bigger tournament, it'll actually, starting week 14, I believe you have to be in the top 2 in most of them to advance. And then from that point on, they basically eliminate half of the field each week. So it's really kind of a do or die deal, week to week from that point on.
And it's still the people you have on your team, they put the best scores in each week, right? No.
Correct. Yeah. None of that changes. It's just that it kind of goes to a more traditional playoff format, right? Where right now it's just total points. It doesn't matter. You could win, say, I don't know, not that this would happen, but you could win 12 of 14 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. But in the 2 weeks that you don't win, you do really bad, and you don't do high enough to be the 2 teams that advance. Same deal that you could score a gazillion points, just like you could in your fantasy leagues during the part moving on to what they would consider like the playoffs or the money round, and then unfortunately one bad week and you're out.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like, real playoffs in the NFL. You could dominate the entire season and have a bad week in your playoff matchup, and you're gone. You're playing golf.
But you should get money just for making the playoffs.
Okay.
Like whatever that entry level is there that you'll usually see in those big fields, like because if you're in first or second or have an amount next to it, you're guaranteed that by just finishing first or second. But the bigger pot, you obviously have to continue to advance to get into that.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying for that, me, because it's fun. You don't have to worry about adjusting it, and you just get to have your best.
I think eventually all leagues should be this way. To be honest, I think it's like the easiest way. You just draft and you're done. Because it's really, I mean, Jay Henley, I'm sure, can speak to this more than anybody. It's a lot of stuff. Like between doing the waiver wires, checking your lineups, and
it's a lot.
And in many ways, this way you just basically draft your team and you're done. And it just, I think it actually can make it more even than any other way because everybody's playing by the exact same rules. You're not going to get lucky and say have the number one waiver priority. Yeah. When the biggest player is available for free agency, some teams do it by your record. So if a team starts 0-3 or 0-4 and say there's a bunch of good players available those first few weeks, they get first priority picking them up. And this way everybody drafts their team and you just go from there. And you don't have to also, be like, oh, should I start this guy or that guy?
Yeah, it takes the stress out of making a bad decision away. Because that's one of those things with fantasy football and weekly fantasy football is, and I've done that with Joe Burrow. Every time he's thrown 5 touchdowns, he's been on my bench. And I'm like, oh, good. I started Jameis Winston last week over Joe Burrow. That was fantastic. And lost by about 6 points. So, but hey.
Yeah, if you're high anxiety like me, it takes a lot of stress out of your life. Yeah. So that's nice.
You don't have to worry about making bad decisions. And it doesn't matter because it's all the good stuff. But yeah, Keith, here we are. Week 9 is week 9 this week? Or are we in week 10?
Week 10.
Yeah,
actually, week 10.
Yes, week 9 is come and gone. We're just over halfway through the NFL season. What are some of the things you want to dive into this afternoon?
So again, because I'm weird and I love diving into this kind of stuff, I've been really thinking about the NFL's always been known for parity, right? Mm-hmm. It's the sport of the major ones that everyone has a chance, and there's usually not a huge difference between, say, the best teams and the worst teams. I feel like that we're getting away from that. And what I mean by that is right now there are 9 teams in the NFL with 2 or less wins through 9 weeks. The Dolphins 2-6, Pats 2-7, Browns 2-7, Titans 2-6, Jags 2-7, Raiders 2-7, Giants 2-7, Panthers and Saints 2-7. Then you throw in the 3-win teams,
it's 11,
the
right?
Jets and the Cowboys. Yep, there's 11. And then ironically, or I guess not ironically, because if you think there's a lot of bad teams with not very many wins, there'll be a good bit of teams with a lot of them. There is also 11 teams with 6+ wins. And I'm trying to figure out how good are these teams, how much of their success has been by their record, are they beating up on these bad squads, etc. And so I went through and did a little deep dive. Let's start with the NFC teams. Washington is 7-2. They so far have played 1 game versus a team that has 6+ wins. They lost that to Baltimore 30-23. If you look at their wins versus teams with 3 or less wins, they are one of the teams that has 4. Only 1 team has more. And they have not lost any games versus teams with 3 wins or less. And so far, they have 1 win on the season versus a team with a winning record. This is what I'm kind of getting into, is are these teams really good? Philadelphia, same deal. They're 6-2. They are 1-1 in games with teams with 6+ wins They defeated Green Bay, remember, in Brazil to open the season. They lost to my Atlanta Falcons in week 2. They have, right now, also 4 wins versus teams with 3 wins or less. So a lot of that may be smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
You look, they have not also lost a team, and they have all of 1 win right now over a team with a winning record. So maybe those 2 teams aren't quite as good. Detroit, who, by the way, I just got to throw this little stat in because I heard it. You know what Detroit's record in their last 55 games versus the spread is? Because it is outrageous.
No, but I could imagine it's got to be pretty darn good.
40-15.
Whew. So you're saying take Detroit to cover.
Holy smokes. Now, granted, a lot of that was early in that run. They were underdogs, right? Because that was when they were on the come up.
Yeah.
But this is a team that, man, like, don't be afraid to take to give the points with the Lions. They are 7-1 on the season. They are 2-0 in games versus teams with 6+ wins. How many wins do they have versus teams with 3 wins or less? Only 2. And what I really is impressive, they are one of the 4 teams with 3 wins versus winning records. So, basically just right at kind of half of their wins on the season. And then Minnesota, they're in a little better position. We'll do them and Green Bay at the same time. 6-2 and 6-3. Minnesota is 2-1 in the 3 games that they have, plus 6+ win teams. Green Bay is 1-3. Now they've lost those games close. They lost 34-29 to the Eagles, 31-29 to the Vikings. They beat the Texans. Obviously, the matchup versus the Lions was not great. But again, the difference in these 2 teams, wins versus 3 teams or less. Green Bay is another team that they only have 2, just like Detroit. They don't have any losses. But the wins versus teams with a winning record, they only have 2. So does Minnesota. So Atlanta, the last one in the NFC, real quickly, they have 3 games versus 6+ win teams. They've lost 2 of those, both close, the Steelers and the Chiefs. They beat the Eagles. But they're one of these teams that has a lot of wins versus teams with 3 wins or less. 3. So basically half their wins have came against these bad teams. And they only have 1 win versus teams with a winning record. Now, let's talk about, to me, the biggest pretender that comes out immediately from looking at that, and that is the Buffalo Bills, who are 7-2, but they are 0-2 versus teams with 6 wins or more. They have won 4 of their 6 games versus teams with 3 wins or less. And they have beat exactly 1 team with a winning record this entire season. That was week 1 versus the Arizona Cardinals, who are 5-4. So despite them being 7-2, they, to me, kind of look like a pretender. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel about Philly and Washington. The more I look, right, at
Did you say contender or pretender?
Pretender.
Oh, pretender.
At their win-loss record, who they beat. The Kansas City Chiefs actually have one of the most impressive resumes. Not only are they 8-0, they got 2 games versus 6+ win teams. What I think is really impressive, they've only won 2 of their 8 games versus teams with 3 wins or less. Even though they don't have a ton of wins, they have 3 versus teams with a winning record. But again, that's the most of any team in the NFL. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Detroit, and KC all have 3 wins versus teams with a winning record. But KC also has wins over like San Francisco. Some of these teams that are either right at 500 or just under 500. But we would say like those are pretty good squads.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, the thesis of this, well, actually, real quick before we move on, is Baltimore is the one, to me, that is just really wild. So they're 6-3. They've had 3 games versus teams with 6+ wins. Obviously, they lost by a toe being just over the line to Kansas City in week 1. They destroyed Buffalo. They beat Washington. So those are 2 of the 7-win teams. But what's crazy is if you look at teams who have lost to teams with 3 losses or less, Houston and Pittsburgh are the only teams with 6 wins or more with a loss versus those teams. Baltimore has 2, as they lost to both the Raiders and the Browns. So, like, the Ravens are one of these teams that it's hard to figure out because overall they actually have had one of the stronger schedules on the slate. It's just, what do we take from the fact that they lost to the Raiders and the Browns? And again, no other team with 6+ wins has 2 losses versus those teams. And only 2 teams with 6+ wins has lost a game, period, to these bottom-dwelling teams. I'm starting to wonder, are we getting to where, if you look, those 11 teams I just went through, tell me, are any of these teams, in your opinion, just decent? We got the Dolphins, Pats, Browns, Titans, Jags, Raiders, Giants, Panthers, Saints, Jets, Cowboys. Like, are any of those teams you think, like, just decent? Let's not even say good, just decent.
It'd be tough for me to find one in that group because I could give you a reason to every one of those teams why they're not decent, and a lot of those teams are continuing to trend in the not decent direction. But yeah, and NFL's weird. You got 11 at the bottom, you got 11 at the top, and then you got this squished in middle part of a lot of really good teams that have had different reasons, injuries, whatever it may be, that could really go on a good run the second half of the season. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and it's a great point because a lot of these teams, they may make the playoffs, do great, but by the time they get to the playoffs, they just haven't had the good competition that they're going to see in the playoffs, and might be one and done. But yeah,
Bill Simmons has always called them the good bad team, right? Like where they have a good record, but if you really dive into it, they've just beaten up on teams that they're supposed to. Something that Mike Smith, which is why I was really frustrated when the Falcons got rid of him so quickly, he did that, and that's something Atlanta has typically always struggled with, right, is making sure you win the games you're supposed to versus the bad teams. I am happy to see Raheem Morris seems to also fall on that list because if you look at Atlanta, like, two of their losses are very respectable to the Chiefs and Steelers. I just think the Seahawks loss was not quite as great, but again, a team that at least is 4-5. It's not a team that's 2-7. Yeah. I would argue the one team out of those 11 would be the Miami Dolphins with Tua healthy.
Yeah, because they obviously lost.
Because if we look, like they lost, close games, but to good teams the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that they actually are competitive as long as they have Tua, to where the rest of those teams, like, I don't remember teams being as bad as, say, like the Panthers, the Titans. I know we all loved the Jameis story 2 weeks ago, myself included, but boy, did he come crashing, back down to earth and kind of remind us why he's not been a consistent starter his entire career. It just...
Well, what's the common denominator with a lot of those teams? It's poorly run, not good ownership, not making good decisions, not hiring the right people, not drafting correctly, and a bunch of those teams that you listed kind of fall into that category. And now here come the Cowboys, kind of crashing down, and they might have to hit a big reset switch here too.
Why did they not unload any of those guys? Like, how can you look at this Cowboys team and forget this year? How can you say next year you're ready to compete? You have so much money invested into 3 players who I think that any of those guys, maybe Dak being the one, you might not get the huge return just because of the contract.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wonder, did they miss a window where they potentially could have got a monster haul?
Yeah.
For one of their other stud players, whether it be Lamb, and we're seeing more and more success with these wide receivers right off the bat, is why I wonder, is that not where, if you have a guy like that and you're not close to winning, why not grab draft capital? Because I just think that there was plenty of teams out there that would have gave them a lot for, say, CeeDee Lamb, and you would also kind of solve the issue if you really want Dak to be your quarterback moving forward. You can do that, and you just invest, with those extra picks and money and wide receiver and offensive line, which has been their real issue overall this season.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, if Micah Parsons would have been healthy, I think that might have been somebody that they looked to make a move with before the deadline. But obviously he wasn't healthy, so wasn't really a viable option to put on the market. But hey, they did pick up Jonathan Mingo from the Panthers. So Jerry Jones making some big time moves at the deadline. Jay, that's sarcasm. Mingo, in his weeks 6 through 9, he's had 1 target and 1 reception.
Ooh. So there was a poll too yesterday on ESPN that made me really giggle, that it was the 6 wide receivers who was the biggest trade acquisition at the position, and it had like Hopkins and all these guys that you would expect, but it just made me crack up that Mike Williams and Jonathan Mingo were on that list, and they had about, within the, say, margin of error with the election going last night, people voting that was the biggest acquisition of guys like DeAndre Hopkins and Murray Cooper, et cetera. And I'm going, what is happening right now?
Yes. But yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are going to have to hit, not to stick on the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are going to literally have to hit on every draft pick next year to try to put a competitive team together. Because I don't know, the things they did in the offseason didn't make sense. They didn't make any moves going into the trade line, and I think at some point, old JJ is going to have to eat some crow and just admit that he's not done a good job in the last couple of years, and they need to hit that reset button, but they're tied up with so much capital with just 2 players.
Maybe give the reins to a Bill Belichick?
Yeah, that's certainly been a topic of conversation, but I don't know if he'd ever be able to turn over that power, so to speak, to another individual.
Well, in those 2-win teams, I'm thinking, this is a question I'm asking myself, is like, all right, so all those head coaches, are they offensive-minded coaches or are they defensive-minded coaches? Or, I don't know.
That's a good point.
No, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
They're mostly offensive because that was what was we've been, if you look at the coaches that have had the most success over the last 5-10 years, the majority of them have been these offensive gurus, quote unquote. But to your point, Jay, it's the defenses that are having a renaissance this season. And like QBs are struggling, right? Like the big plays are not happening at nearly the same rate. And maybe that is. And I mean, like even somebody like in Seattle, which I know it started good and it's gone bad, I like their hire there because he went out. You can always get a really good young offensive coordinator like he did from the University of Washington. And it's been more injuries, in my opinion, that have hurt Seattle than necessarily them hiring the Ravens defensive coordinator. I think is one of the best, play callers on the defensive side of the ball in football.
Yeah. No doubt. And that's, it's kind of it was the sexy hire recently, the offensive-minded coach scoring points. But, you got to be able to play some defense, too. And your lines, man, it just always goes back. You have to have a good line on both sides of the ball. That's what wins football games in the NFL. But we ran a little long. Got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we got Keith Fleming on the line. You can follow him on the X Machine, 2 M's in Fleming, Keith. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
This just in.
Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected.
Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a gentle breeze out of the east, light showers and 80. Some clouds and light sprinkles tonight, about the same at 73. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy much of the day, but with a possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high of 82. About the same at 81 Friday, and we'll have mostly clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
This is Linda Cope, founder and president of Warrior Beach Retreat. Line the streets Thursday, November 7th for the parade honoring combat wounded warriors and their loved ones. Attend the 7 p.m. ceremony at Forest Park Church with Brigadier General Greg Nelson as the speaker. WarriorBeachRetreat.org has the parade route times and locations. We began hosting retreats 15 years ago after our son, retired Army Sergeant Joshua Cope, lost both legs above the knee and wounded his hands by an IED blast in Baghdad, Iraq. We saw firsthand when a soldier goes to war, a family goes to war. That's why we focus on the caregivers also on our retreats. We are a local 501c3 charity not affiliated with Wounded Warrior Project. Donations are greatly appreciated. WarriorBeachRetreat.org, and God bless America.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot.
Goddamn. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
guess it's 2025. Odds I seen there, bringing us in on the Inside Drive. We're hanging out with Keith Fleming, as we do every Wednesday from 12 to 12:40, talking football news, but also talking that official DK lineup. And, hey, we're halfway through the season, so that means you got half a season left to try to win some money there in daily fantasy sports. All right, Keith, it's that time. We ran a little long in the last segment, but let's dive into that official DK lineup and some other options for all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, first of all, I hope that you played my running backs from last week, and you did not play my wide receivers. Goodness gracious, what a difference it makes. The lineup still scored 145 points. That was thanks to Bijan scoring 21.5, A-Chain scoring 32.1, Barkley scoring 36.9. Taysom Hill had a great week at 16 points. My boy Justin Herbert, 19.48. But we were killed by a Giants defense that scored 0 points. Jalen Coker, 5.6. Puka was the one that really killed me with 2.1. And Ladd, 11.4. But again, those running backs included the top 2 running backs on the slate. And this is why I tell people, take my information and use it from there. I was actually completely on Chase Brown. I would add Chase Brown in that lineup and actually spent up at wide receiver from Puka instead of Bijan by kickoff last week. That wouldn't have worked out too much better either, though, because I probably would have been telling you to go with Lamb or Brown, who didn't have great games either. But overall, that's the way it is week to week. But for week 10, I'm sticking with the QB that I went with last week, and I meant to mention this. This is a time of year where you can find some players on waivers that should not be. Justin Herbert is one of them. He's available in about 60% of leagues. He's 5,200, and I know a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth from the way the season started. The fact that he's in a Jim Harbaugh offense now where most people just think all Jim Harbaugh does is run the ball. Greg Roman is obviously the offensive coordinator. He's also known for running the ball a lot. But if you look at it, all of a sudden this Chargers passing offense really taken off. Herbert has scored 20.43 points per game over his last 3. That is the 7th most points per game in that slate. Of the QBs on the main slate this week, very similar to last week. He's the 21st most expensive QB on the main slate. So
which is just surprising because he is trending in the right direction, and what Harbaugh's doing over there in Los Angeles is pretty awesome.
And so that's ownership. I'm learning that because he was very low owned last week, under 1%. And I think that's a big thing is when a guy is scoring points and being used a lot, that is when they up the price.
Gotcha.
But if they see nobody's using them, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's almost like a stock market, right? Yeah. They don't see the need to raise him, and that they will once he starts being up. Since the bye, which that's 4 games, he is now averaging 280 yards per game passing. He was averaging 144 yards per game the previous 5. The last 3 games, 5 passing touchdowns. 303 passing yards per game, 20 rushing yards per game. But most importantly, this was a Chargers team that was throwing it 25 times per game those first 5 weeks. I think it was a combination of new playbook, QB was banged up, offensive line was banged up. Since then, they're throwing it 35 times per game. They're throwing it 10 more times per game since the bye than they did before. And to me, the biggest thing that shows you they're becoming a pass offense, Chargers throw it on first down at the highest rate in the NFL since week 6. And that is a dead giveaway that they are leaning more and more on the pass. So I love Herbert. I think there's immense value there. Aaron Jones, 6,700 at Jacksonville. He struggled the last 2 weeks, only scoring 23.7 points combined in those games. But his volume continues to be elite, which we love, 46 touches in that span. If you remove the game versus the Jets that he was injured, and I think he only played basically the first half, he's seen 14 or more carries in 5 straight, 19 or more carries in 4 of those 5. He's had 23 receptions over his last 6 full games, at least 2 in each, 4 or more in 4 of 6, again, removing that Jets game. And the reason that's important is because he's facing a Jags defense that is so bad right now versus the run. They're 30th on DK versus running backs, but it's worse than that. In just the last 4 games, the trio of DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley, who's like, you know what, I can make plays going backwards, jumping over guys versus this defense. They combined for 377 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, at almost 5.5 yards per carry. The trio scored respectively 36.9 for Barkley, 28.5 for Jacobs, 21.9 for Swift. And this Minnesota team, I expect them, they have not been afraid to smash teams in the mouth that can't stop the run. I expect that to happen this week. Speaking of DeAndre Swift, he let me down last week. I had him in a good bit of lineups, 6,600 versus New England. But he ended his 4-game streak of 21.9 points or more. But again, he still had a decent game, 14.2. But the bigger thing, 16 carries in a game the Bears were down early to the Cardinals. Again, just a defense that is so bad versus the run, especially as of late. New England is 28th on DK versus running backs. But over their last 5, running backs have rushed for 788 yards. That's just rushing yards by running backs over their last 5 at over 5 yards per carry, 6 rushing touchdowns. And this is a Bears team that needs a win like so desperately. They are free-falling all of a sudden. What a difference that Hail Mary has made. You think about it, they were getting ready to be, I think it was, what would they have been? So they're 4-4. So they would have been 5-2. All of a sudden, they lose that game. They lose last week. They're 4-4.
Yep.
Their young QB is questionable with an ankle issue, so don't think they're, even if he plays, they're going to lean on him a lot.
They got players
and
walking off the field mid-play.
Yep, it's rough.
It's turned.
You got to get back to what you do and run that ball. He's been sacked, too. Williams has 12 times the last 3 games, at least 3 in each of those. So I expect a heavy dose of the Bears' rushing attack. Again, staying with that Vikings game, Justin Jefferson, 8,800 at Jacksonville. Jacksonville ranks 29th versus wide receivers, but it's still tough to justify spending 8,800, the most expensive player on the slate. But I'm okay doing it, and the reason is not because he's second in target share among wide receivers or he's averaging almost 20 points per game. It's the fact that Jags run man defense over 40% of the time. And Justin Jefferson this season, when targeted versus man, is averaging 3.13 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He's
a man beater.
He is a man beater, for sure. I am very, very bullish about him this week against a Jags team. It doesn't matter who they play. They run that man at that high of a rate. Parker Washington, same game on the other side, 3,900. Minnesota, dead last versus wide receivers on DK. And we've seen with the loss of Christian Kirk 2 weeks ago, he's played over 70% of the snaps in both games. His previous high this season was 35%. He has 3 receptions with 40-plus yards in each of the last 2 games. 10 of his 14 targets on the season have came in that span, and both of his highest fantasy point totals on the season. I expect the Vikings to be up. That means they're going to be throwing. The Vikings blitz a lot and get a lot of pressure. Parker Washington has taken over Christian Kirk at that underneath route. Like, I love Brian Thomas Jr. He's more of a downfield option. So I think he can have a great chance to 3X his number. Josh Downs, the other wide receiver, 6,200 versus Buffalo. This is all about Joe Flacco is starting at quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. In the 4 games that Flacco starts, Downs has been just incredible. He's seen 39 targets in those games, 9 or more in each of them. He's caught 30 passes in those 4 games, 6 or more in each of them. 277 receiving yards, 60 or more in each of them, and then 17.4 points per game on DraftKings in those 4 games, 12 or more in each of them. Buffalo, another team that gets a ton of pressure. The Colts have been having issues with protecting Flacco. We saw that last week in a game where they just got boat raced. I think that means a lot of downs, and it's going to work out a little better. Buffalo does not have quite the secondary that Minnesota does. The tight end is one of the easiest calls on the week. It's Hunter Henry, 3,900 at Chicago. Again, very similar to Downs and Flacco. Hunter Henry with Drake May, totally different tight end. In his last 2 full games with May as QB, 17 targets, 15 receptions, 148 yards. In the 3 full games that May's played as QB, he has finished tight end 11, tight end 6, and tight end 7 for the week. Chicago is a very good defense, but the one area that teams have had success, particularly in the pass game, has been with tight ends. Just in the last 3 weeks, we saw Zach Ertz, 7 receptions, 77 yards. Evan Ingram, 10 for 102. And I know some may say, well, Trey McBride only had 3 catches for 34 yards last week. Well, that was in a game that Arizona was up big early, and they just didn't throw it. So I think he'd have had more success if that game would have been different. And then I am going to go with the Chicago defense, 3K versus New England. I still think this Bears defense is really good. I love what I've seen out of Drake May. Like, he looks great. That's an offensive line that struggles. It's a run game that is very inconsistent, and you have to run on the Chicago Bears to have success. If you look, even like Jaden Daniels, right, the best rookie QB by far this season in terms of playing, fantasy points, etc., you take away that Hail Mary, that offense had not scored many points. He had not had that big of a day, and I just think this Bears defense is going to, again, clamp down on New England for all the things that you want to say about the Bears coaching staff and their questionable decisions at times. Very fair. Eberflus is a great defensive play caller and a great schemer. I think he's going to scheme up some stuff for Drake May, who is already taking a good bit of sacks like most young QBs do. I expect the Bears to have at least 4 or 5 sacks in that game. If they can get a pick 6 or whatever, they could be the highest scoring defense on the day. So that's my DK cash game lineup. That's a Wednesday for Week 10 of NFL action.
There you go, and make sure you pay attention to Keith throughout the rest of the week, as things certainly change as injury reports happen, different things going on out there. Keith, let me ask you a question. If neutral site game had to happen this weekend, Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, what is the line for you in that game?
I would, if it's neutral site,
like a Super Bowl.
I would say Chiefs like -1 or -2.
Okay.
The one thing we've learned, and this is why, again, with lines, it's difficult because Vegas is setting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vegas knows that we know that Patrick Mahomes is basically undefeated as an underdog for his career.
Yep.
So why in the world would they just tempt people to take the Kansas City Chiefs, right, on bets by, making them the underdogs? I think the Lions are a better team. I don't think there's any doubt, but I just, Mahomes' record as an underdog, I'm pretty sure he's like it's either 8-1 or 9-0. And
it's pretty solid.
It would be tough. And at the end of the day, like, Jared Goff's been great. The Lions have been great. Would you rather have Jared Goff or Patrick Mahomes? I love the DeAndre Hopkins addition for the Chiefs. Like, I think that's really big. And the biggest thing is they're going to have probably Pacheco and Kareem Hunt by the time we get to the playoffs, which that all of a sudden makes that backfield pretty nasty. I wouldn't say it's like Jamar Gibbs, David Montgomery 1-2 punch, but a really good 1-2 punch of guys that both are great at getting 4 yards at a time.
Yep, no doubt. And they obviously the addition of Hopkins has certainly helped out Mahomes as he's really started to develop some nice chemistry with him. And good for D-Hop, too, to find a spot where he's going to get to play in the playoffs and maybe have a shot to be part of some history. That is for certain. All right, Keith, tell everybody where they can obviously find your information. I know X is a big thing, but there's some other things in other places and maybe something you want to talk about as well. I don't know if you're putting that out on the airwaves.
No, we're gonna wait a little bit about that. But you can find all my stuff on Fantasy Six Pack and Fantasy and Frames. All of my stuff is on Twitter. We did the waiver wire show last night on Fantasy and Frames on Tuesday. If you're somebody that's in fantasy football leagues, it's a great resource to figure out who you should be picking up. We talked about guys like Drake May. I talked about Keaton Mitchell for the Baltimore Ravens, who looks like he's going to be coming back this week. And there's some guys that it makes a huge difference. It's a lot of work, Jay, and I get that. Sometimes it frustrates me, too. I don't want to have to think about it so much, but it's important to always be able to pick up those guys that are available on the waiver wire when there's opportunities. Even if your team's doing well, it's always good to be a step ahead. If you have a guy on your roster, say, that you're not using, and it's somebody that can strengthen a position that, say, might be your weakness or whatever.
Yep, very similar to what a lot of the teams are trying to do during the trade deadline. And, Keith, we appreciate you as always. Good luck in Week 10. Hard to believe we're in the back half of the NFL season, approaching the playoffs, and, of course, approaching the college football playoff as well. Georgia Bulldogs got the big win over Florida. And what do you think, real quick, about traveling over there to Ole Miss and the Fighting Kiffins?
This Georgia team, it's just back, man. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if it's confidence. I truly don't. But, I think this team is still arguably the best team in college football when everything's going right. But when you're, preseason Heisman, favorite or, one of the Heisman favorites is throwing 3 interceptions, every game, that's going to make it a little difficult, even for a team with a defense like Georgia has. So they've got to figure that out, especially when they don't have the ability to run the ball the way they have in years past, where they can just run it like 35, 40 times. But I do like us versus Ole Miss. I don't think they're quite there. Like, again, I hate to say this, but really, like, Alabama is the only team in the SEC that, like, every single time we play them, I'm terrified. Everybody else, I just think Kirby's a better coach. We saw that in Texas. Like, he's going to find a way to win and, get those guys motivated. We just got to figure out a way to get over the Alabama hurdle.
Yeah, absolutely. But you may not have to, depending on what happens in this LSU-Alabama game coming up Saturday.
Very fair.
Keith, we appreciate you as always, and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Jay, David, y'all have a great afternoon, boys.
You as well, brother.
Yep. All right. Keith Fleming, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. Our final segment on this Wednesday coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Dr. Bulldog in L.A., good afternoon.
This is why I like this kind of game. You got to have some hate in football. I don't hate Alabama. I don't hate Auburn. I hate Florida. Tennessee's a close second, so don't get it twisted being a Bulldog fan. But this is Herschel Walker versus James Jones.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $41.99 a month. Cut the cord, not the fun. To get Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click the Lucid TV logo.
Calling all art and craft lovers. It's time for the Fall Fling. The Women's Civic Club is hosting a juried arts and crafts show and sale, and you won't want to miss it. Mark your calendars for Saturday, November the 9th from 9 to 3 at Frank Brown Park Recreation Center. Browse through amazing handcrafted items, find unique gifts, home decor, jewelry, and so much more. Suggested donation just $1. For the perfect way to kick off your holiday shopping season, don't miss the Fall Fling.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey, and welcome back. I do feel like we're in the club.
I do too.
I was spinning these mix-ups back there on the ones and twos.
Is it PM or AM?
It's PM.
Okay, I'll just check.
For sure.
Is it, if you start hearing bass hit that hard, is that way too early in the morning? Hold on. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed for this, Dave.
Yeah, no bass in the morning for you.
I'm just thinking 12:44 a.m.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I smell what you're stepping in right now.
Right.
I don't know if I get it.
12:44 a.m. I mean, that sounds like
you would more be. You would.
Oh, because you're at the
more
club.
likely to be clubbing at 12:44 a.m.
Shoo, right over my head. I was like, but it's not. It's 12:44 p.m. Like it's in the afternoon.
Stop changing things to your liking, Jay. That's not how life works.
I'm sorry.
Keep it in reality check, brother.
Brother. But let's, speaking of reality check, let's give a quick update on the Pigskin Pick'em. See where everybody stands in that one. You still near the top, Jay?
Second place.
So. Two wins behind.
Place. Nice. Yeah, Kyle Albritton still looking good. But yeah, the bus driver, 96 and 42, just 20 points back. And Mark McLeod in third. Barrett Townsend, Danny Griffin tied for fourth. And Liam in sixth place. And then it goes a lot of ties all the way through in there. We're about halfway through, so a lot of opportunities still to make up some ground. Obviously, would need some upsets to be picked in that one. Jay,
yes,
is final week in NASCAR this week?
I don't know. Is it?
If there was one person for me to ask, it would be you. Like, I figured you would at least know that one.
In Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona.
And what? Only the top 4 guys have an opportunity to win.
Whoever finishes the highest out of Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and Billy B. Billy Byron, the underdog. Yes, sir.
Right.
RJ Starsvik gave us a great correlation. You've got Joey Logano, who's basically like the Tom Brady of NASCAR right now, just kind of always there.
And when I picked him early in the pick, and then I guess he waited till he stopped doing it to start racing good.
Well, you just kind of, you were tired of, I guess, not picking up your 2 extra points or whatever it was that we were doing. I mean, it feels like a whole year ago.
That was a long time ago. It was earlier this year, but yeah. So whoever finishes the highest out of those 4 guys at Phoenix wins the championship.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Yeah, sure.
It's coming up this weekend.
Left turn, times 4.
Times 4. 4
a lot more than that.
Yeah, depending on how many laps. Oh, but yes, absolutely. We'll talk about the trade deadline action tomorrow. We'll have a little bit more time on that one.
Yeah, we need Jay's thoughts on that.
Definitely.
The trade deadline?
Yeah.
All right.
Yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
So no more trades in the NFL?
Deadline.
For the rest of the year. Okay.
It's typically what happens when you pass a deadline.
We'll get back to it after the Super Bowl.
Next season.
My thoughts exactly.
Where's the Super Bowl this year, Jay?
Where is it? New Orleans?
Wow.
Holy cow, man.
Who's performing at halftime?
I would probably say Nelly.
Oh, it's not in St. Louis.
Didn't Nelly do it like a couple years ago?
I think he was part of the multiple people.
Taylor Swift.
No. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's never going to guess.
No, you're right. You're right. It's Kendrick Lamar, right? Yeah.
Would have never guessed that.
You're just like, you don't even know who that is.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you don't have a 10-year-old. You have an older boy. So
right. Yeah.
I know Kendrick Lamar is. And because of David, too.
And what's his name again?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar, okay.
David's still bitter it wasn't Lil Wayne.
No, I'm not bitter about that. Because I think Kendrick and Lamar do a song together called Mona Lisa. I think that Lil Wayne will find himself into this. I think that Kendrick Lamar is a better performer at this stage in their career. I've been to 2 Lil Wayne concerts. So I'm not mad about this at all. It is one of those situations where you're like, oh, man, like Louisiana, it's one of those situations where Kendrick Lamar is kind of the hot artist right now. So, which is odd. Normally they do artists who are over the hill, and kind of like make them relevant again.
Yeah, like Usher last year.
Yeah. That's who I was thinking, not Nelly, but Usher.
Yeah, Usher. As Little John always called him, which I never understood. S before H or S before R.
Yeah, but it's just
Usher. It might more with the song.
Usher.
All right, Jay, I'm going to give you a quick update. We're a little halfway over the season. Okay. Now, remind you who you picked for all these divisions, and then let you know who is currently in the lead in those divisions. We'll start with the NFC East. Not looking good for you, my friend. Do you remember who you picked?
Don't.
The Dallas Cowboys.
The last place Cowboys.
Dallas.
Wow.
Dallas is cheeks, as the kids say nowadays.
Ooh-wee.
Booty cheeks. I'm like, why do you keep saying this? This is what it means. Okay. They keep coming up with new stuff all the time. It's it's hard to keep up. Now I feel like that's old now.
Yeah. That's got. It's like
Yeah. That's like I walked down.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I walked down in the lobby the other night to go to dinner, and somebody said, "Oh, Coach Jay got the fit on," and I'm like, "The fit? What you talking about?
You're looking good.
The outfit. Yeah. The fit.
Swagging without bragging. That's Jay Henley pulling his pimping wagon.
That's it. It changes every week.
That's right.
It's hard to keep up. But yes, you did pick the Dallas Cowboys, who are falling apart week after week. Zeke, I don't even know what he's doing anymore. He's in so much disciplinary trouble that I don't even think he's playing football.
Most wild to me is they're like, both both sides thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
why does Zeke even get to say it?
Yeah, like if he's.
Yeah, I'm a distraction to the team right now. I probably shouldn't travel with you guys, but pay me.
I agree with you. I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing either. I don't know if that's how it works. David's got the Eagles, and then I did pick the Commanders, and the Eagles and the Commanders are very, very close right now. Commanders 7-2, Eagles 6-2. But if you listen to Keith J, the Commanders' record may be a little bit suspect given the teams that they have played in their records. So, but Eagles are trending in the right direction. They got a 4-game winning streak and just playing really good football. Beginning of the season, everybody's like, "Oh, Sirianni, the Eagles, they can't." But you got to get healthy too. Health certainly matters. All right, in the NFC West, you did pick the Rams. And the NFC West is very, very tight right now. David and I both picked the San Francisco 49ers. NFC West standings right now. The Arizona Cardinals have a 1-game lead over the Rams and the Niners, and the Seahawks are 4-5. So only a game separating all 4 teams. Niners trending in the right direction, though. They get Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings back this week. Dre Greenlaw is on the cusp of coming back as well. They travel down to Tampa this upcoming Sunday, and we're looking forward to checking out Raymond James Stadium, as I've never been there before.
Nice.
And I've heard it's a pretty cool spot to watch football.
Yeah.
So, and we're a little further away from the Cannon. So.
I was about to say, you can pay $1,500 to sit on top of the Cannon.
Ooh.
For $5,000, if you're underneath 5'2", you can go in the cannon. You'll never exit because it doesn't actually propel ammunition out, but you can sit in there while it goes boom.
It'd be loud.
And no lawsuits will be accepted for your loss of hearing.
I would suggest earplugs in that one. That's for sure. But yeah, fire in the blanks. All right, NFC South, you went with the Bucks. David and I went with those Atlanta Falcons. And the Atlanta Falcons are currently 6-3 with a 2-game lead over those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 4-5 after they lost to the Chiefs on Monday Night Football in overtime. All right, next we did the NFC North. Jay, you went with the Bears. David went with the Lions. And I went with the Pack. Currently, the Lions 7-1 first place. Vikings 6-2 second place. Packers are 6-3 in third place right now. And the Bears are 4-4 and not trending in the right direction. Lost their last 2, like he said, after that Hail Mary. It's just the 2 games, the game after that, they just didn't look the same as they were going up until then. AFC East, you took your heart in that one, and you took the Dolphins as your pick. I also took the Dolphins as the pick, and David took the Jets. And that's one of the divisions that I don't want to say it's over yet. Things could certainly change, but the Bills are 7-2. The Jets are 3-6. So a 4-game differential.
You took the Bills in that one?
No, I took the Dolphins as well.
So we can let that thing just wash out there?
Yeah.
Let's just cancel it right now.
Why? The Dolphins could come back.
Okay, fine. All right, well, let's double down then. Whoever finishes higher out of the Jets and the Dolphins.
Nope.
Wait, who did Jay take?
The Dolphins.
Okay.
His heart.
Oh, God.
Hey, they're on the come up.
Are they?
They lost to the Cardinals. It's okay.
Yeah.
Tua's back, though.
Okay.
At least they're scoring points. It's positive. AFC West, 2 Chiefs and a Raiders. David and I took the Chiefs. You did take the Raiders. I like the optimism to start the season, but they are last in that division at 2-7. The Chiefs are 8-0. Chargers are 5-3, and the Denver Broncos are 5-4. So that one looks pretty locked up as well. Again, anything can happen. A long way to go. AFC South, you took the Texans, Jay. David took the Colts, and I took the Jags. Whew, bummer there on the Jags. What was that? That's the AFC South. Currently, the Texans are leading 6-3, Colts 5-4, and the Jags are 2-7, holding down the last place in that division, even behind the Tennessee Titans, because the Tennessee Titans have played 8 games, and the Jags have played 6 games. And then last but not least, the AFC North. Oh, man, what was I thinking? I took the Cleveland Browns in that one. And, yeah, you fine gentlemen both took the Ravens. So we know how that's going. But they got to win the division in order for you to get those 10
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go.
I want to see the
Welcome to the winning club, cuz.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go Steelers. Currently leading that division at 6-2, Ravens 6-3. The Cleveland Browns are 2-7 and not moving in the right direction. Jay Henley.
Yes, sir.
Who's your Super Bowl champion this year?
It's got to be the Chiefs.
Doesn't have to be.
Nah, no. I mean, it's just that they can find the way to win.
He feels it in his bones.
I can feel it in the bones.
Feel it in your loins.
What do you think? What do you think?
I don't know. I think this is the obvious, right? They're playing really well. Well, they're winning games and coming back. I think 7 out of 8 games they were behind at some point in the game. But I think if they continue a very good record in the regular season, it's the opposite of what they've done. So maybe one team can find a way to get them, and because 3-peat would be incredible, it'd be cool to see. But also at the same time, let's not see that. Let's not see that. Let's see another team get a dub there. And
spread the wealth.
Yeah, spread the wealth. No doubt. Trying to make it 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Auburn doesn't play this weekend, Jay.
Oh.
So they can't lose.
Yeah, this is true.
They can't lose. And, I'm sure we'll have... Oh, no, I want to talk about what's coming up tonight.
What is coming up tonight? It's
Wednesday night football.
Wednesday night football.
Technically,
yeah, there's a football game tonight, but that's not going to be live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's got to be a basketball game.
There is indeed a basketball game going on tonight. As we are
fella.
Your home for the Auburn Tigers. They'll be taking on the Vermont. Do you know what their mascot is?
Don't have a clue.
The Catamounts.
Ah.
It's a cat. It's a cat. It's a scary cat. Coverage starts at 6:30, right after the afternoon underdogs. Game tip-off 7 p.m. Auburn getting their regular season underway at home up there at Neville Arena. Trying to make another deep run, and hopefully they can do what the football team is not doing and win more games than they are losing. So that coverage will be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida coming up tonight. I do believe we have a couple local soccer games, maybe one local soccer game as well tonight. It's weather's beautiful in the evening for soccer. They should enjoy it because it's going to eventually get cold at some point. Bozeman is taking on Palm Bay Prep Academy. Bozeman is 0-1 on the season. That is at Palm Bay Prep. Looks like, that's right here in Panama City as well. So, be good stuff. Soccer season is underway. Jay? Football.
Yeah.
Football. With a little accent on that U.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming back.
Glad to be here.
We got you tomorrow as well?
Yes, sir.
And Friday?
And, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Afternoon underdogs coming up at 4. Auburn basketball coverage starts at 6:30. Tip-off at 7 p.m. We appreciate you hanging out. Listen to the Inside Drive. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
This land is my land. From California. Well, to the...
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
We're up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Hurricane Helene.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a gentle breeze out of the east, light showers and 80. Some clouds and light sprinkles tonight, about the same at 73. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy much of the day, but with a possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high of 82. About the same at 81 Friday, and we'll have mostly clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
At Broad Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be a